coming to you live. This is Editing Aaliyah, and I know I look a hot mess. We're just gonna pretend like you don't see anything. I just have to give a couple of disclaimers in this video. A lot is happening. I filmed this video, and then I had to refilm it, and this is the second attempt. And I was just struggling. So, a couple things. I am having an eczema outbreak. On my face and on my hands. You can see it, like you can see it here, you know, these little spots, but you can also see it up here, so it's noticeable. And then I have one on the side of my mouth, so like I went to the doctor. It's fine. I also am sick in this, like the amount of times that I'm scratching my face because my allergies are really bad, and the sniffling, the whole thing. I had to blow my nose so much. My voice was getting messed up. I was shortness of breath from my asthma, from the pollen. So, like, there's just a lot going on here. So, I just want to preface that by saying, please be nice. Okay. Enjoy the video. Bye! Hi, friends. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Aaliyah if you're new, and I'm so happy to have you here. Today's video is going to be my October reading wrap-up and my November TBR. There's a lot of things that happened in October. There is. And, we had a time. So let's just get right into it. Okay, friends. So we read 6 books this month. And we also had 4 TBR books that we picked from our jar pick. So we're kind of just going to start off with the jar pick and then go to the other ones. One of the first books I picked, I believe, was Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I DNF'd this book. I know! I got to page 55, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it, girl. I think this book is it's very funny, and I think it's good writing, but it wasn't called to me. I wasn't obsessed with this book. I wasn't going to pick it up. It would be like days in between when I would read it. Like I wasn't grabbing for it. And sadly, it just didn't go for me. I think it was a good book, but I think it's a softie now. Like, I don't think I'm going to DNF this permanently. I do think I'm going to pick it up again. I just don't think right now is the time for me to be reading this. So I'm just going to keep it on my shelf. Like I said, it was 55% or 55 pages in. So I think I can pick this up like maybe in a couple months. But I think right now, like I think the start of the year, I might pick this up because I think that would be kind of good. But yes, I didn't do it. Next book that was picked was The Co-op by Tara DeWitt. It is on my Kindle right now. I did not read this because I found out it was published by St. Martin's Press when I opened it and went through the first couple pages. And when I realized that, I was like, I can't read this book and I can't endorse it. And that's because they're racist and horrible and we don't support them. So I just don't feel comfortable reading books by them, and I'm not going to read it. And that really sucks, but it is what it is. I did hear this was a good book, and maybe if St. Martin's Press apologize and said the truth, then I might pick it up, but I'm not. The next book I DNF'd was Exhibited by Nellie Wilson. I was actually really excited to read this. This was a boys loving boys, a man loving man story, and it was an anticipated read. However, I actually don't like Nellie Wilson's writing, and this is the 3rd book in a series. I read the first 2 books. If you guys want to check out that vlog, it is one of my San Francisco vlogs. I think it's maybe the first, one of the first 2 videos of me living in San Francisco, maybe the first 3. But I only liked the first book in that series. The second book, I got I think 75% through, and I just started skipping because I was like, girl, I don't care. So I don't know why. I was like, yeah, this 3rd book is gonna do it for me. It didn't. I think I DNF'd 5% through, and I was like, girl, I'm not enjoying this, so goodbye. And sadly, it just didn't do it for me. I hate DNF books, mind you. I didn't start really DNFing books until recently because I was like, mama didn't raise no bitch. I am going to continue on. I'm going to get through this storm. But reading is a fun hobby for me, so I shouldn't be just being like, well, I'll just get through it. Like, I should actually be in love with what I'm reading. The next book is Love in Other Words, and I honestly forgot that this was on my TBR, y'all. And I really just forgot about it. So I didn't read it, and I will read it in the coming months. It's probably going to be my January TBR. It's probably going to be on there. But I'm sorry, Christina Lauren. I'm sorry, girls. I love you, but I didn't end up reading it, and I do want to read it because I know it's such a good book, but we'll get to it eventually. And those are the 4 books that were on my TBR that I was supposed to read. Now let's get into the 6 books that I did read. The first book that I read was Night Shift by Annie Crown. I read this book via audio. I gave it a 3 out of 5 star. I think this book was good for what it was, but I felt like I wasn't the target demographic and I was a little too old. The people in this book are 2021 and I'm not 2021. I'm 25 going on 26. So I think that because this book just read very young and it was very young, I just didn't really relate to the characters. And it was really spicy, and I feel like it was sometimes unnecessarily spicy. And yeah, I just didn't, like, it was a great book for young people. I think it's like someone who's really like, young and, you know, like naivety and like in that type of like college environment. I'm just not there, and I just didn't like the book. But I think as a whole, I give it 3 out of 5. I don't think it was a bad 3 out of 5. I just think that I haven't thought about it. I'll probably never pick it up again. The next book I read was Praise by Sarah Kate, and this was a 5 out of 5 star. This was kind of my big shocker of the month. I actually did not think I was gonna like this book this much. It was really good. I went into it blind. I read no blurb about it. I didn't know that it was a taboo subject, and so that was that. I surprisingly liked it. I thought it was really good. It was spicy, but I just feel like it was a good plot. Like I was shocked. It was actually a good plot, and I felt tied to the characters and the family dynamic, and I just felt like it was good. It is an age gap romance, and the girl is 21, and male main character is 41, and it is her ex-boyfriend's father. So it's just like, that was interesting. It was like he owned a sex club, and the father and the son had a weird relationship, and it was just like, it was interesting. I just really loved like their love and that love story and like how good it was, and like, I don't know, it just felt very loving, and I just didn't realize how much I would like it, but I did love it, and I ate that book up. So I gave it a 5 out of 5 star. It was a 5-star read, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next book, oh my god, y'all. So I started the Filthy Rich Vampire series when we were evacuating for Hurricane Milton. If you didn't know, I live in Florida, but I specifically live in Tampa, and so we decided to evacuate because when Helene hit, we did lose power for a little bit, but we knew this is gonna hit and we're gonna lose power for a long time. And spoiler alert, we were correct. We lost power for about a week. And so happy I was able to leave and then come back and we had power. Very, very thankful, and I know that's a privilege. But on our way out, we went to Nashville. And so Nashville ended up being like a 15-hour drive. So of course I was like, let's listen to some audiobooks. And from Libby, I got Filthy Rich Vampires, the first book. And it was so good. I ate that book up. I ate it up scrumdiddlyumptious. It was so good. It was so good. So it follows Julian and Thea. Thea is a human and Julian is a vampire. And she is I believe she's a celloist. And she is like, I guess, playing the cello. She like is in the orchestra. I think she was playing at an event because Julian was asleep and he wakes up and he has to go do the things in the vampire world. And like something happened and it kind of picks up from there. And it was so good. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 star. I mean, I think we finished it on our trip, like, there and back. We finished it. Like, it was just so good. We finished it and started the second book. It was so good. I loved it. It left on the cliffhanger. I think it was just, like, it picked up pretty fast. And I feel like we got into the story pretty fast, which I loved. And I felt like it was just a fun girly pop book. I think it was, like, serious at times and goofy and hilarious. But Julian and Thea's love, girl, it ate me up. I think it's a paranormal romance, but it gave me the same feeling that Fourth Wing and Iron Flame gave me. Like, I felt like it was like Fourth Wing-esque in that way, like how the book was set up and things. I loved it. It was very good, and I'm very happy that I picked this book up. The second book is The Filthy Rich Vampire's Second Right. That also was a 5 out of 5 star for me. It was so good. I loved every minute of it. It was delicious. It was like leaving on a cliffhanger in the first book and then getting to this one and that one on a cliffhanger. Girl, I ate it up. I did. It was good. I really, really liked it. The first 2 books, and kind of just like following Thea and Julian's story, and like as things progressed, I just really, really loved it. The next one is, of course, Filthy Rich Vampires, 3 Queens. Now, this book is kind of how I felt with Iron Flame, where I understand the importance, I guess, in the book, but I felt like Iron Flame did too much, and I felt exactly the same way about this third book. I got about 75% through, and then I DNF'd it. And I went to Barnes to pick up a different book, and they had the whole series there, so I ended up just reading 3 Queens. I ended up reading like the last half, I think like the last 15 pages to kind of get it. It was anticlimactic. I feel like nothing was really like shocker crazy. It kind of was obvious from the jump, so I just didn't feel I felt underwhelmed. So I give that book, on my Goodreads, I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5. I believe it was a 3 out of 5. I don't think about that book, but I do think about the first 2. And so, I don't know. I think I'm going to finish the 4th book. I'm not really sure. The audiobook comes out next year, so I would have to read this one. So I'm not really sure, because a lot of people also DNF'd 3 Queens and said the 4th one was okay. So we shall see. And the next book and the final book that I read this past month is Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I gave this book a 3.75 out of 5. I do think it was a good book. I have read quite a bit of Tessa Bailey's books, and it definitely read, like, when I first started reading, Tessa Bailey books were my god. It Happened One Summer got me back into reading. That's what sparked, like, all of this, 2.5 years ago, and now I am obsessed. And so I think because I have a special place for Tessa Bailey in my heart, of course I was going to pick this up, and I was thinking about it, and I just needed like an audiobook to kind of get me through around this time. And this happened last year too, like the last 2 months. In November, I read like 10 books and I got to my reading goal. And then December, I then like read straight. I read and listened to books, and that's what got me to the end of the year. So I think I'm just at the time period where I'm kind of book fatigued. So I just listen to audiobooks. So I was like, I'm gonna pick this up, listen to it, then that will be like 6th book for the month. So I was like, okay, girl, let's do it. Yeah, I liked it. I think it was way too smutty for me. And it definitely read like other Tessa Bailey books. Like, I felt like it wasn't very different from like It Happened One Summer or the Sweet and Spicy series. That's like Tools of Engagement, Love Her, Lose Her, and Fix Her Up. Like, I think I think this series kind of went along with that. But I didn't feel like the characters I really met deeply, but I did think it was a good storyline, and I think it was very fun and cute and very silly. And I'm currently reading the next book in this series, so it will be obviously in November's wrap up. I don't know, the first book, I was like, I like this. This is so cute. The second book, though, that I'm reading currently, I'm starting to like it. So I think that was like a fun little series to just have for the year. Now let's get into my November reads. So we are not doing a TBR jar this month. I think we're going to do that every other month. But I do have some things that I really want to get to this month. So we have 4 books. These are my ladies, the 4 books I'm going to be reading. I'm very, very excited. I got some books while I was evacuating from Milton. So I'm very, very excited. We're kind of just going to go from the top of the stack. But I'm currently reading The Au Pair Affair by Tessa Bailey. It's the 2nd book in the Fangirl Down series. I'm currently listening to that, so that will be a part of this month's read. Yes, so I'm reading that, and that will be one of the books of this month that I finish. But let's kind of get on it. So the first book that I definitely am going to be reading is You Look Better as a Ghost by Joanne Wallace. I've heard only great things about this book. I actually only heard great things, so I will be picking it up. This actually caught my eye earlier this year when I was living in San Francisco. There's a bookstore that I went to all the time, and this was on like the front when you first walk in, and on the left hand side it was like there, and this book just caught my eye, and then I read the blurb and I fell in love with it. But at the time period I wasn't really buying books, so I was like, Whatever. But then I saw it at my local Barnes here in Florida when they were like closing and doing their 40% off. So of course I bought it then, and I'm very, very excited. And I think I need a thriller. Like, I think I need a thriller to kind of just get me through the rest of this book year. I've read 32 books and my goal is 35. I think I'm gonna hit it, but you know, I'll probably just raise it up to 40 or something. The next book I'm going to be reading, which I'm kind of shocked that I picked this up, but Target was doing a buy two get one free deal, so I did it. But I decided to pick this book up, even though the first book that I read by her, Forget Me Not, I hated it. But I am going to give her a chance again, and I've heard this book is so good. The book in question is Not Another Love Song by Julie Santo. This cover is just beautiful. Like, this cover is just beautiful. And I heard this was really good. I've heard people give mixed reviews, but some said if you didn't like Forget Me Not, you'll definitely like this one. So I'm actually really excited. And again, it's just so beautiful. And I'm excited to read this and kind of give it a try and see how it goes. It is a music based book, like romance. And if you guys don't know, I was in, which you don't know this, but I was in marching band in high school, and I've been playing the clarinet since I was in 5th grade. So, like, being in band and things like that, I love music. Music is still something that's very big and important in my life. I think this is going to be a sweet romance, and I'm very excited. The next book, which I'm kind of shocked that I even decided to do this, but I need some fantasy. I need a fantasy read. I need a fantasy kick. And I think Filthy Rich Vampires, I think I liked it so much because it gave a fantasy element. And I think that's what I need right now. It's like a fantasy book to kind of get me through, to kind of help me, like, I don't know, finish off this year strong. And I'm so excited for this one. And I cannot wait. It's my first R.F. Kuang book, and that is Babel. I heard this was really, really good, and I've been wanting to read R.F. Kuang books. I actually want to read the Poppy War series, which I will be reading next after this one, but this very much so intrigued me. If you didn't know, but I think I've talked about it on here, I have a bachelor's in history, and history is like a very big part of my life, and politics are too. I love history, I love politics, and this kind of has that in there. This is based off of Oxford in the 1828, and so if you guys want to read the blurb, you can look it up. But this is I know it's going to be so good, like talking about language and history and colonization, and that's right up my alley. So I think this is going to be a fun, really cool, and also important book, and I'm so excited to read this. And some of my favorite booktubers and bookish people who make TikToks and Instagram and things have read this, and I'm very, very excited. I think it's going to be really good. The next book is a most anticipated read, and I'm so excited to read this book, and it is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I'm very excited for this book. I've heard it was just like a cozy fantasy, and that it's like a cozy romantasy, and that it's very fun and just very fall-esque and very just sweet, and I am very excited for this book. I think that that's exactly what I need right now. And just look at this, and it has the sprayed edges. Like, this book is so, so pretty, and I think I just need something that is in fantasy, but just like fun and not super duper serious. And I think this will be really good to either read before Babel or after Babel. So I'm very, very excited about this read, and I think it's gonna be a great TBR for the month. All right, guys, that is it for like the books that I definitely want to get to this month. There may be other ones that kind of come up. I know Lost in Lasso by Lila Sage. It's coming out in a couple days, and I probably will be reading that. I'll listen to the audiobook. I'm actually really excited for that audiobook, and I think it's going to be very, very good. And I love the first two books. I really did love Swift and Saddled. Like, I think that's my favorite one out of the series. So I'm very excited for this one. But I'm very, very excited for this month of reading, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. So let's just have a great reading month. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!